no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is the fastest growing talk radio station in Southern California, home to 50,000 watts and an audience reach of 12 million listeners. KBLA Talk 1580 is a pioneer for Black audio content, including our groundbreaking $2 million climate justice campaign and the most loyal, influential audience. According to an independent research study by the polling firm Aviterus, for the second consecutive year, KBLA Talk 1580 is the most trustworthy, reliable, and credible news source for Black audiences and beyond in Southern California. Let KBLA Talk 1580 power your advertising dollars. Our omni-channel custom marketing solutions are specifically tailored to connect with your ideal target audience. We leverage audio, podcasts, streaming, digital, social media, and local activations to get your message out to the Black community. Get in touch with our advertising team today at advertising@KBLA1580.com. That's advertising at KBLA1580.com. KBLA 1580. We've got your Black.
Hey everybody, live from Los Angeles. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm your host and Chief White House Correspondent, Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, here to serve. I'm in touch and so you be in touch. Be sure to follow me on all the social media platforms at Dr. Nii-Quartelai. That's DRNII-QUARTELAI. Pro tip, type in Dr. Nii, DRNII, and boom, bam, boom. There I am. Also, be sure to download the KBLA app to listen to us live or on demand, or simply tell Alexa to play KBLA Talk 1580. And there I am for your listening pleasure. Last but certainly not least, be sure to subscribe to A More Perfect Union podcast. That way you'll never, ever, ever miss an episode. Also, these days, please go out and pre-order my new book, Kamala, the Motherland, and Me. It is available on Barnes & Nobles and Amazon, and after July 23rd, it'll be available everywhere books are sold. I can't wait to hit the streets and be in conversation and in community with all of you about what was a pretty extraordinary assignment overseas, covering Vice President Harris in Ghana, Tanzania, and Zambia. So much to talk about, so much to share. And so go ahead and pick up Kamala, the Motherland, and Me. And with that, it is time for your National News Roundup. It's time for the good, bad, and ugly headlines of the day. Kicking us off, The Guardian is reporting that New York judge dismisses Rudy Giuliani's bankruptcy case. That's right, a New York judge dismissed Giuliani's bankruptcy case today, clearing the way for two Georgia election workers to try and recover nearly $150 million that Giuliani was ordered to pay them for defaming them after the 2020 election. The ruling by U.S. bankruptcy judge Sean Lane comes after lawyers for two women, Ruby Freeman and her daughter Shay Moss, as well as other creditors, accused Giuliani of concealing information about his finances. The judge also prevented Giuliani from refiling for bankruptcy within 1 year. Giuliani had initially asked the judge to convert the case from a Chapter 11 bankruptcy, which, for folks who don't know, it's a type of bankruptcy that allows a debtor to reorganize their assets, to a Chapter 7. A Chapter 7 bankruptcy, which would allow him to liquidate his assets. He abruptly reversed course and requested that Lane dismiss the bankruptcy altogether. And so looks like things are not working out in Rudy Giuliani's favor, and that this ruling clears the way for two Georgia election workers to try and recover nearly $150 million that Giuliani was ordered to pay them. That's real money. $150 million. That's some serious bread right there. And so, we'll see if those Georgia election workers are successful in getting Rudy Giuliani to run them their check. And speaking of running folks their check, the Washington Post is reporting on what was exactly happening inside the glitzy fundraiser where Biden lost George Clooney. Hollywood executives and performers and thousands of other Californians filed into the LA Theater last month expecting a star-studded fundraiser for President Biden, backed by actors George Clooney and Julia Roberts, that would inject millions of dollars into Biden's static campaign and launch him on a path to beat Donald Trump in November. But instead, many attendees led by Clooney now say they watched a dud and a preview screening of what the nation saw 2 weeks later in Biden's primetime debate against Trump. Reflecting on the June 15th event at LA's Peacock Theater, some donors said this week that they noticed Biden seemed slow. He appeared frail. As he greeted donors lined up for photos, he trailed off or spoke too quietly in small talk conversation to be heard. And the lingering doubts about Biden's closest supporters that evening help explain why support for him has collapsed so quickly in the days after the June 27th presidential debate. The debate confirmed many voters' long-held suspicions that the elderly president was not up to the task of campaigning. The reactions among attendees of the event also raised questions about why Biden's allies did not speak up sooner about their concerns, allowing his campaign to insist for months that Biden was vigorous and sharp behind the scenes, with many now saying that that was not their own experience. And so, measured by dollars, the evening was a success. It brought in more than $30 million for Biden's campaign, setting a record for a single political fundraiser. But even with Jimmy Kimmel posing what some people said was softball questions and Obama frequently interjecting to provide support, Biden struggled to explain key parts of his campaign platform, with attendees saying that the president frequently stumbled over remarks and trailed off or was simply confusing. Now, in all fairness, the president had also come back from some pretty extensive overseas travel. His travel schedule was something crazy, but it's interesting. People are that attended this fundraiser are talking. Now, one of the things that I heard, and that a number of folks at the White House have been saying, is that George Clooney's op-ed, is not what it seems. It's not what it seems. There are folks that are saying that Biden's campaign blames a pre-existing tension with Clooney over Gaza for the actor's op-ed calling him to exit. The Wrap is reporting that the Biden-Harris campaign is partly blaming pre-existing tensions with George Clooney over the war in Gaza for the actor's New York Times op-ed in which he called for Biden to drop out of the race. When asked for a comment about the op-ed, an individual close to the campaign told the Wrap, quotes, "There were pre-existing tensions with Clooney. See the call on Gaza," and added that the president had literally just gotten off the plane from the G7 ahead of Clooney's June 15th fundraiser, during which several people complained about exhaustion and grueling pace. And so, you know, we're here to give you the good, bad, and the ugly. We're here to give you the news and information, and you know, we can all do our best to make sense out of it. So, you know, that's what we heard what Clooney said, and we're hearing what the Biden White House has said in response to that. And quite frankly, both can be true. Both can be true. And so, moving along, in other news, it's about time for folks to sort of, you know, kind of like put up or shut up. You know, there's been a lot of talk about the president and, you know, what comes next. But the Black Caucus has largely been sticking by Biden, but worries grow about whether his candidacy can survive. NBC News is reporting that as more and more Democrats call on President Biden to drop out of the 2024 race, members of the CBC, who are key allies on Capitol Hill, remain largely supportive of the president, but concerned that the ongoing pressure may prove fatal for his campaign and damage the party overall. In interviews just yesterday with NBC News, 5 members of the Congressional Black Caucus said that while small fissures are emerging, most lawmakers remain loyal to Biden. Still, they want to change. They want a change in the campaign strategy and staffing to better position Democrats to win in November. Concerns that they've been sharing with the campaign for months. 2 of those CBC members who spoke on conditions of anonymity said that they worry that Biden may not be able to continue as the nominee if he can't move past his dismal debate performance in the coming days, and convince party leaders, convince donors and voters that he remains the best candidate to beat former President Trump. Asked if Biden can survive the crisis, Representative Emanuel Cleaver of Missouri paused and simply replied, "I don't know. I don't know." He's not the only one. House Democratic Leader Jeffries says that he met with the president. The Washington Post reporting that in a letter to members of his caucus today, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries of New York said that, quote, he requested and was graciously granted a private meeting with President Biden. In the Thursday evening meeting held the same day as Biden's high-stake news conference at NATO, Jeffries says he directly expressed the full breadth of insight, heartfelt perspectives, and conclusions about the path forward that the caucus had shared in other recent times together. House Democrats met behind closed doors on Tuesday, in what was described as a candid and somber meeting where all opinions were expressed. And so since we've been on air, President Biden will be meeting virtually with members of the New Democrat Coalition on Saturday afternoon, according to 2 people familiar with the plan. The group represents almost 100 House Democrats who range from liberal and moderate wings of the caucus and are often most likely to work across the aisle in negotiations. The meeting is significant since most of the 21 House Democrats who've come out against Biden are part of the group. It'll be Biden's 4th meeting in 24 hours with 4 blocks within the House Democratic Caucus, the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus, and Congressional Progressive Caucus. Yeah. So we'll keep you posted. When we come forward, it's supposed to be Pop Culture Happy Hour, and we're delighted to welcome back to the show Al Reynolds, who is a pop culture and entertainment correspondent, and since he has his finger on all things pop culture, we're going to ask him about all the things that are popping this Friday. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. Al Reynolds joins us when we come forward.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to here with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
Happy anniversary, KBLA!
KBLA Talk 1580 is now celebrating 3 years of amplifying our voice and uplifting our community. We deeply appreciate your support of this radio station and will always do our level best to earn your support. Here's to many more years of loving and serving our community. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black.
I know it's gonna happen without you.
Don't settle for bumps, ingrowns, and itch due to dry skin. Try Venus for pubic hair and skin, the razor and regimen specifically designed for your pubic area, featuring a razor with patented irritation defense bar and skincare regimen that is dermatologist and gynecologist tested. Venus helps protect your pubic skin from shave irritation. Discover the full regimen of products at GilletteVenus.com.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
SoCal on July 14th. Big 3. We're back. The world's greatest basketball in the summer. The Big 3. There's simply no comparison, no competition.
They not like us.
That's right, they not like us. We own the summer with our traditional hard-nosed brand of basketball. The Big 3, founded by Ice Cube. It's professional 303 basketball with former NBA greats and Hall of Fame coaches. Come out to the Honda Center July 14th. Hang with your homeboy Ice Cube and watch the greatest game in the summer. It's your homeboy Ice Cube. It's the Big 3, Season 7. The hottest game of the summer. I'll be in the house with your favorite Big 3 players and Hall of Fame coaches. Get your tickets at big3.com/tickets. Oh, yay.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where everybody is somebody and nobody is a stranger. You belong here.
You're A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, and now we're being joined with Al Reynolds. Al, are you there?
Yes, I am. What's going on, Doc?
Well, I'm hanging in there. I'm doing better than a lot of people in the news today. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm with you, man. I got my head above water too. So what we're talking about, and am I able to talk about it? That's the question.
Well, listen. You know, you are always welcome to speak your mind here, and there is so much for us to get into. First things first. A lot of folks are talking about Biden's debate performance still. It's been nearly 2 weeks since that debate performance. And folks, can't seem to stop talking about his age and his mental acuity. And, we saw yesterday, he took 17 questions over the course of 50 minutes during that press conference at NATO. And, in some ways, it was a masterclass because he demonstrated a strong command for some pretty complicated issues. But he did have a few fumbles, referring to the president of Ukraine, President Zelensky, as President Putin,
right.
and referring to Vice President Harris at one point as Vice President Trump. And so, if folks are just following the headlines and they saw that, I'm not sure if it inspired any new confidence. But for folks that watch bigger chunks of what he had to say, they might have walked away with a different view. What say you?
I totally agree. So this is the deal, right? When something is made apparent, right? So they've decided in this campaign against him that they're going to focus on his age. And so they're going to focus on his ability and how he walks and how he moves and how he responds. The focus is going to be on that blunder, right? And unfortunately, he's given it to them. Now, this is what I would like for everyone to understand. Let's be smarter than what we're being fed, and let's stick to the facts. Statistically, they are still tied, despite, Biden's call for Biden to step down. He and Trump are still tied as it relates to the polls and saying who we want the next president of the United States to be. I think, do you have concerns about his age? Are they valid concerns? Are they valid concerns about how he's moving and the slow and the response? Yes, they are. But that concern will never trump, to me, that was a flip, will never trump who the alternative is on the platform, which is having President Trump back in the office. For me, I think this is a question of leadership. He's the most qualified. He's the one that's going to make sure that Americans continue on this track of repair and recovery that he has done for the last 4 years. And he's got a strong vice president, which is what she's there for. If anything is to happen to him, she's supposed to step in with the competency of having 4 years of experience in that White House to take over that White House if necessary. And no one can say anything bad about her age and how she's moving and how she's responding.
And to your point, NPR is reporting that the race for the presidency remains statistically tied, despite President Biden's dismal debate performance 2 weeks ago. A national NPR PBS NewsHour Marist poll found that he leads Trump 50% to 48% in a head-to-head matchup, right. But Biden slips when third-party options are introduced, with Trump holding the slightest advantage with 43 to 42%. And so that's also a factor here. We got to look at everything. We got to put everything on the table, right? We know that Dr. Cornel West is still in this race. We know that folks like RFK Jr. and Jill Stein are still in this race. And as long as they're in this race, there are some folks who will reject both Trump and Biden as an option and will find their way to them. We know that there are uncommitted voters that are still out there, particularly in battleground states like Michigan, like Wisconsin, like Georgia, right? And so, we're not just this question of staying in the race or not staying in the race. It's not just about the Democratic base, right?
That's right.
And winning an election it's a case of addition, not subtraction. And it seems that since the debate, it's been very hard for people to not engage in a game of subtraction when it comes to the folks who could be the margin of victory for a potential Biden second term or Trump second term.
Listen, you hit this nail on the head. This is a game of subtraction, and chipping at his age, chipping at how he's responding, and chipping at how he's talking is adding to the subtractions, right? And that is even within the Democratic platform. So for me, I think, and this is just how I'm able to manage this political process and this campaign, I got to focus on one thing and one thing only, and that is my rights as a human being, as an African-American male, a part of the LGBTQ plus community. Where are my rights going to be most protected? And that's all I can think about. And when I look at that, I know that my rights are definitely at jeopardy if Trump was to get back into that White House. And so for me, I'm not going to use the same add and subtract method of math. I've got to only look at the pluses and the positives and what this president has done these last 4 years. And boy, has he done a lot. And I know we don't have time to unpack that. And we need to stand clear of anything that's not going to allow him to continue that trajectory. And especially for me as a voter who's in his 50s and who's focusing on what my next 20 years are going to look like and which administration is going to match what I need to happen for me, for my family and for generations behind me.
Well, speaking of influencing the generations behind you and, the next few decades of our lives, we know that NPR is also reporting that research shows that AI can boost creativity for some, but at a cost. And so, questions have swirled around the use of AI in art since large language models burst on the scene almost 2 years ago. But companies such as OpenAI have touted their products as tools that artists can use to increase their output. And while some writers say that they've embraced AI as a tool in their creative process, many other artists and creators have expressed skepticism. Some have even sued, alleging that the tools use copyrighted work for training purposes. Do you use any AI, Al? And what where do you fall in this AI debate, right? Because I think people make it into should we or should we not use AI? And it's like, well, first of all, you're assuming that we aren't already using it, right? Every time that I call Alexa and ask her for something or ask Siri for something, like, that's artificial intelligence, right? And so
That's right.
how are you using AI, and what's your philosophy around the use of it?
My philosophy around it is like my zodiac sign. I don't mean to dumb this conversation down, but I'm a Gemini, so there are two parts of me. And so there's one part of me that says AI definitely, makes a person become more creative, because if you're in the creative space and you know that you have this type of competition, your laziness, it just can't lay dormant. You've got to stay on top of stuff. You've got to stay in front of this artificial person that's giving you competition. Now, there's also the other side of this, which says that, it's decreasing creativity in society overall, because they don't have to think about anything. We just throw it into this algorithm of artificial intelligence, and it's going to spit us out what we need. I am of the first, which for me, AI makes me more in touch. It makes me do more research, and it helps me be smarter and more creative. Let me give you an example. We all have lawyers, and I have a lot of lawyers because, I do a lot of things. And so what used to take so much time for me in discussing what I want a contract to look like, or if I'm presented a contract, how I want to lean in and what I should be concerned about, I now will take contracts that are presented to me before I take it to my lawyer. I'll put it into an artificial intelligence program, and it'll spit back to me things to be concerned about, things to be legally aware of, and other outputs that I can add in order to get what I need as a talent. I then take that information from an informed perspective and I present it to my lawyer, and we cut back on the time that I spend with my lawyer going back and forth with this and this and stuff, and it in fact makes my lawyer in turn more of a hard worker as well, because he's like, oh my gosh, he's coming to me with this. That means I got to get back to my case law. I got to understand how to protect him. So in that example, that's great.
Yeah. Well, when we come forward, Al, I want to dig into Project 2025. I don't think we're talking nearly enough about it. We know that Project 2025 would increase costs and block debt cancellation for student loan borrowers. It's going to do a whole lot of things. But we're going to talk about why everyone is talking about Project 2025. And I'll give you a hint. Young influencers have a lot to do with it. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. More with Al Reynolds when we come forward.
Say the quiet part out loud. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Tyreek Wynn. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. A key ally of President Biden says he's standing by the president in the re-election bid. South Carolina Democrat Jim Clyburn, who is Black, told NBC's Today Show the conversation over whether Biden should exit the race should end. He said Democrats should instead focus on Biden's record. Clyburn's comments come as 17 congressional Democrats have urged President Biden to step out. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, who is Black, met with President Biden on Thursday as a growing number of Democrats want the president to bow out of the 2024 election. Jeffries said he expressed his full breadth of insight from his caucus during a private meeting with the president Thursday evening. Milwaukee, Wisconsin is preparing for the Republican National Convention next week. Milwaukee Police Chief Jeffrey Norman, who is Black, says his department has been prepping for about 2 years. About 50,000 are expected to head to the city, and there will be protests outside the secure area. That's the latest. I'm Tyreek Wynn on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. I started Blindster in 2010 in my garage after I overpaid for new blinds. I researched the industry, hired my mom, and 14 years later, we're one of the largest retailers of custom blinds in the U.S. Don't pay too much for new blinds. Go to Blindster.com.
Is this the This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
LeBron James gave another indication that his career is getting closer to the finish line. LeBron, who turns 40 in December, said the Summer Olympics in Paris will be his final Olympics competition. LeBron is going for his third gold medal. With LA preparing to host the Summer Olympics in 2028, LeBron made it clear that he will not be on Team USA's roster. The future Hall of Famer will be 43 when the Olympics come to LA. LeBron agreed to only a 2-year deal when he re-signed with the Lakers on July 3rd. That was also a message. Get ready for reality. The time is approaching when we will no longer see one of the all-time greats hooping it up. Tomorrow night at 7 here on KBLA, join me and my co-host Neil Scarborough for Out of Bounds. 60 minutes of sports chatter with some flavor. You're welcome to join us in the conversation at 1-800-920-1580. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580, where climate is king. We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, a.k.a. the Voice of Reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the Voice of Reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code PATH to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code PATH for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code PATH for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
KBLA Talk 1580 invites you to join us in our climate justice campaign partner, LA City Council member Curran D. Price Jr., as we celebrate the grand unveiling of the South LA Greenway, Saturday, August 3rd, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Augustus Hawkins Nature Park, 5790 Compton Avenue in the city of Los Angeles. Join us for a green and healthy festival with free food, planting activities, tree adoptions, nature walking tours, Zumba, yoga, sound baths, and more. It's summer. Time to get outside. We look forward to seeing you at the dedication of the South LA Greenway, Saturday, August 3rd, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Augustus Hawkins Nature Park, 5790 Compton Avenue in the city of Los Angeles. Caring about the climate, caring about the community, LA City Council member Curran D. Price Jr. and KBLA Talk 1580.
Broadcasting live from Leimert Park, USA. Welcome back to your home for unapologetically progressive radio, KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to a More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, and so delighted to be in conversation with my friend, my brother, Al Reynolds. He is a pop culture and entertainment correspondent, and he always has his finger on the pulse of what's poppin', and there's a lot poppin' this Friday. Welcome back, Al Reynolds.
Yes, sir. Finger is definitely on the pulse, I hope.
It sure is. It sure is. And it's not just your finger on the pulse, but apparently young content creators are driving the messaging around Project 2025. It just needed to be out there. For people who may be less familiar, the playbook of conservative priorities has been championed by some creators as a guide to less government oversight and slammed by others as an authoritarian takeover of America. This is what's been happening here. The playbook of conservative priorities for future presidential administrations has been championed by some creators as a guide to less government oversight and slammed by others, again, as that roadmap to an authoritarian takeover. But some, like fourth-year middle school math teacher Marquise, QB the Don Bryant, has been warning their followers about the dangers of Project 2025, while others like college student Lily Orzoko have recently shared why implementing it could have benefits for the country. Many creators have picked apart pieces of the plan in their own monologues, while others have shared short clips with their reactions. In all, more than 30,000 posts have been tagged with Project 2025 on TikTok. Though some Democratic politicians have been raising concerns about Project 2025 intermittently over the last 2 years, it wasn't until the past week that widespread attention began to coalesce around the political platform, with many content creators already weeks, if not months, ahead of the curve. And of course, I'm sure you were watching, Al, when you saw Taraji P. Henson, how she cautioned viewers about the project, at least at last week's BET Awards. And John Oliver, Seth Meyers, and Steve Colbert, they've used their late night perches in recent days to bring attention to it. And so, are we witnessing, sort of social media at its best in terms of being able to take a complex 900-page conservative how-to plan and, summarize that for the masses?
Oh, absolutely. Listen, this is why we like social media. This is the one instance that if the messaging is correct, we can polarize people and get them to move and act. And that's exactly what you're seeing happening in this case, and I'm not mad at it. Now, I want to be very clear. I want everyone to throw out of their vocabulary that this is a guide. This is not a guide. A guide is not 900 pages of how Trump and his friends are going to dismantle and disrupt the U.S. government. We're not here for this guide. Listen, the basis of this guide is basically a federal government crackdown, right? That they are going to crack down on immigration. They're going to vanquish LGBTQ plus and abortion rights. They are diminishing environmental protection. They're doing an overhaul of financial policy, and they're taking aggressive actions against China. This isn't a guide. This is a Bible to destroy the governmental process and what we have in place as Americans. And people need to be aware of it and what it actually means. And using social media to teach young kids and make them more socially conscious and aware, because you only get about 5 to 10 seconds, according to my 13 nieces and nephews that I have, that you got their attention. And being that I'm in the classroom teaching these young guys, you've got to teach it in how they consume it. And this is how they're consuming information. They're taking that information and they're making it the Bible. They're making it like it's been sourced, it's been cross-referenced, And that's why I like this. This is very harmful to the American people as far as I'm concerned, with any president having this much power over your life and your generations behind your life. And this social media platforms that's bringing this attention to everybody, I am all for it. Now, the key here is how is it messaged? Is it messaged that this is a disruption to your democracy, or is it messaged that we don't need government like we've had government in the past, and as young people we need to stand up for our rights and therefore we're against it? That's what we're concerned about on the other side of social media. But I think if you really have taken a temperature of this, and it's shown by Trump backing away from Kevin Roberts, trying to distance himself, that's letting you know that it's having, you know, an impact, and an impact in the way that he's you know, backing up from the person that created it. So it's telling you that it's working. So that I'm not as concerned about. But on the other side, anyone that's on the other side of the table of the Trump administration needs to be constantly pushing this and making this known, because this is what will scare a lot of people to either undecided or to the other side.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that is scaring people right now, the Center for American Progress is reporting that Project 2025 would increase costs, block debt cancellation for student loan borrowers. I mean, you know, certainly we've heard stories of people who have experienced some significant student debt relief. I know folks in my orbit, family members in Virginia who've had tens of thousands of dollars forgiven, friends here in California who've had the same. Well, according to the Center for American Progress, Project 2025 proposes phasing out existing income-driven repayments for student loan borrowers, such as the Biden-Harris administration's new Saving on Valuable Education Plan, the SAVE plan. They want to replace it with a one-size-fits-all IDR plan. The Project 2025 repayment plan offers limited flexibility to account for borrowers' financial picture, and it eliminates SAVE's interest benefits. It threatens to bring back ballooning balances even for borrowers who make on-time monthly payments. I mean, you know, so this, for all the people that are talking about, you know, how they're being squeezed with inflation, well, you know, what they would do related to student debt repayments would only make inflation worse. You know, it would only make it more difficult to make ends meet. And so for folks that are looking for a reason to lean into this election, for folks out there that are looking for a connection, a direct connection, a material difference this election could make to your bank account, here's one right here, big red flashing light right here. And so I've got to ask you,
I wanted to jump in right here real quick, Dr.
Sure.
Dot, if you could hold that thought. You know, there is a large number of people that feel like this debt cancellation does not relate to them. They're not interested in going to college. They never went to college. This is that base that Trump speaks to. This is that base that Trump controls with a lot of influence. And so they're using this as, you know, like a bad thing. And, you know, they are positioning it on that side as, oh, that is a rich people's problem, or that is a educated person's problem. And we've got to focus on what this actually means, which is, like you said, what does this mean, and how can this influence our pockets as it relates to inflation, as it relates to interest rates? And that's what we got to stay focused on, because the amount of debt that's surrounding student loans is baffling. You know, kids nowadays cannot go to like NYU without coming out of there after 4 years owing over $250,000. That is a big, huge house in a lot of these states, right? And that's a lot of money to be ballooned. That's a lot of money to be slapped with penalties if you can't make that type of payment and when you don't have a job. These are deep, deep, deep discussions that I think is a part of fear-mongering that shouldn't be allowed in the discussion as it relates to, you know, Project 2025. I just think it's lazy, and I think that they are using this as a tactic to get more people on their side, and that's clearly focused into the base that he speaks to every day.
I think you're right, and I think it also is a demonstration of a value set that does not believe in education, does not believe that education fundamentally is a good thing for any healthy democracy. And so if people have less and less and less access to education, to quality education, to higher education, then don't be surprised when people are ill-informed or, sort of more vulnerable to the misinformation and disinformation campaigns that are only ratcheting up and becoming more powerful with the advent of artificial intelligence. When we come forward, Al, I want to get your take on this right-wing claim of 0% chance of a fair U.S. election, really sort of previewing efforts to undo the 2024 election results before we even get them. I want to get your take on that and more. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. More with Al Reynolds when we come forward.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power.
Many homeowners and businesses use man-made stone as an alternative to traditional stone for their countertops. Handling these products puts workers' lives at risk. Without proper conditions, workers could die from the terminal lung disease silicosis. Employers must supply respiratory protection and water systems. It's essential to wet stone when cutting it to prevent breathing in dust. Do away with dusty, deadly practices. Visit WorkSafeWithSilica.org. This is a message from Cal OSHA.
Hey, LA residents, it's planting season and the perfect time to get shade trees growing around your home. LADWP and City Plants are giving every resident up to 7 free trees. That's right, 7 free trees delivered right to your door. Trees are great for the environment, help improve air quality, and can help you save on your bill when you use less air conditioning to stay cool indoors. Learn more at ladwp.com/free trees. That's ladwp.com/free trees.
Did you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be a sign that your digestive system isn't working at its best? Taking Metamucil every day can help. Metamucil fiber powders help promote your daily digestive health using a plant-based fiber called psyllium. The gelling action of this special fiber traps and removes waste so you can feel lighter and more energetic. Metamucil, promoting digestive health for a better you. Learn more at metamucil.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent. So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle.
Tide Free and Gentle has no dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on her skin.
If it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide Free and Gentle. This back-to-school season, Tide and Downey are giving back with $1.5 million in scholarships. Enter to win. No purchase necessary. US/DC 17+. End September 30th. Rules. Tide.com/scholarship/official rules.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
Eric was way behind on his taxes.
I owed a lot of money to the IRS, almost $15,000.
Eric called Optima Tax Relief.
When Optima Tax got involved, the calls would stop, the threats would stop. It was easy like 1, 2, 3.
Optima Tax Relief took care of Eric's problem.
And now my debt is clean. I don't owe anything.
Call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077.
Optima Tax Relief.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate meets a scholarly match.
You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. In conversation here with my friend and brother Al Reynolds over here with his finger on the pulse of things, all things pop culture, all things entertainment. And look, if this stuff wasn't so serious, it would be a hell of a telenovela. But it is serious, and we got work to do in our fight for democracy. The Guardian reporting that a major conservative think tank previewed right-wing efforts to overturn the 2024 election on Thursday, with top officials saying that there is a 0% chance of a free and fair election. Mike Howe, who's executive director of the Oversight Project at the Heritage Foundation. Sound familiar? Heritage Foundation, same organization behind Project 2025. They made the comment at an event in Washington sharing the results of a hypothetical exercise mapping out several implausible scenarios that could take place after the election. The outlandish scenarios involved Barbara Streisand being kidnapped by Hamas, Antifa/BLM protesters taking over a detention facility, and FBI arresting Donald Trump after winning the election. And so what do you make of the Heritage Foundation, their sort of multiple front assault on democracy, whether we're talking about Project 2025 or this new Oversight Project that is already looking to sow seeds of doubt in the 2024 election results long before anybody casts a ballot?
You know what? I still am stuck on, and I'm sorry, Doc. I'm still stuck on the outlandish scenario that Antifa BLM protesters taking over the detention facility. Why do all the black people have to take over the prison system? Because that's basically what they're saying here. That is insulting within itself. So I'm still stuck on that. The only thing I did
maybe that's the only place we can get black jobs.
Right, exactly, for cheap or no cost at all. Mm-hmm. And the only thing that I liked about this was the scenario that the FBI is going to arrest Donald Trump after winning the election. I find this type of rhetoric, I find this type of coverage to be irresponsible, and I just think it's just bad all around. Like, it's fear mongering at its best, and it's something that they've learned how to do, and they've learned how to do it well. Listen. They are now saying and positioning that whoever is cleverly doing this knows exactly what to say and how to say it to stir up their base and also create a defense rebuttal from the other side. Like, they are clearly saying that it's a possibility that Biden can exercise his executive rights and maintain the House after the election. Well, the reason why you're saying that is because that's what Trump tried to do, right, in essence. So you're trying to put the fear of what Trump attempted to do back into the Americans' mind to confuse those who don't understand the executive process to make it against him if he loses or wins. See, that's the part here. You're opening up a space here where if he loses, Trump can go in and debate it and overturn it. And you're also opening up a space that if he loses and he wants to debate it, that it's making America against the fact that if he loses and he says, I want to recount, that there then is an outrage and an overturning of some type of political display of discourse, right? That's how I interpret this type of marketing and this type of messaging. And it's absolutely irresponsible and it's dangerous.
It's very irresponsible. It's very dangerous. But you know what? Right here on KBLA Talk 1580, we are in the business of being responsible with the news and information that we share. We know that next week is the RNC convention, and we will do our part to make sure that our leaders, learners, and listeners are well informed about what it is that they're talking about, what's in the Republican platform, what they're saying, and more importantly, what they're doing. And so we also intend to make sure that we're educating people about Project 2025, as well as this latest effort to already plant seeds of doubt in the 2024 election results. I think, when you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready, right? And part of staying ready is knowing what it is that they're cooking up. And speaking of what folks are cooking up, did you hear this? CNN has quietly disbanded its race and equality team. That's what sources are saying. The news comes as CNN's chief executive, Mark Thompson, announced that the cable news channel will lay off 100 employees as it restructures its news gathering operation. The team, which was unveiled in July 2020 by former CNN President Jeff Zucker, had 3 reporters. The source explained that one reporter was laid off, while the others will be reassigned to different roles in the newsroom. Al, what do you make of this? Is this just the latest example of folks walking back their commitments to do better in the name of diversity, equity, and inclusion?
Whenever you see a headline that says anything about disbanding, anything with race,
Al, look, sounds like we lost Al. We'll see if we can get Al back in a moment. But I understand exactly where Al was going with his comment, which is whenever you see anybody quietly disbanding anything, especially anything related to race or anything related to equality, then you have to wonder. You have to wonder about folks' commitment. I think we have Al back with us. Al, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. So I was saying, sorry everybody, I dropped off. I don't know how that happened.
Go right ahead.
Okay. Anytime you see a large company and a media company as the size of CNN disband anything as it relates to race and equality, everyone should be alarmed. Everyone should be alarmed, not just on the race side, but also on the equality side. Equality is women. Equality are Asians. Equality are Hispanics. Equality are disabled. Equality are military veterans. Equality, and the list goes on and on and on. People should be outraged by this, because what this says to me is that once you disband that, then you're able to program your messaging from this huge center that, especially in our community, I don't know about you, but I grew up respecting and listening to CNN as a major source. When they said something or fed a messaging point to me as a child and as an adult, I believed it, and not only did I believe it, but I acted upon it. So to say that you're going to disband race and equality lets me know that your shift is about to come across the board in your programming and in your coverage, and that's alarming.
Well, it is alarming, and I'll tell you one thing, here at KBLA Talk 1580, we are not disbanding anything related to our coverage of all things related to race and equity and equality and diversity. We are unapologetically progressive, and we ain't stepping back from that. My thanks to Al Reynolds for joining me here. We look forward to having you come back again very, 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 very soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the support.
You've been listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. My thanks to The Village, helps us produce this show each and every day. Our executive producer, Tavis Smiley. Our sound engineer extraordinaire, Miles Lowe. Our show producer, Robert Battles. And podcast publishing guru, Odell Bodie. Remember, don't panic, organize. Do what you can from where you are with what you have. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, and you've been listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. Have a great weekend.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Tyreek Wynn. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. A key ally of President Biden says he's standing by the president.